everyone, and welcome to Smalltalk episode 10. We are officially in double digits, and it's going to be so fun. I'm one-third of your co-host. My name is Ryan Camp. Thank you so much for tuning in. This week, we're going to be talking about Season 2, episodes 4, 5, and 6. But first, I have to introduce my two co-hosts. First up, well, I was going to say it's Jacob Collins from 3D Movie Cinema, but I guess he is being taken over by Chucky now.
Fuck that guy. Fuck him and his ass. He's a little tied up right now, and I guess I'm hosting this bullshit piece of shit show now. All right.
Well, it is the month of October when this does air, so I guess.
Also, watch Chucky Season 3, October 4th. I'm out of here, bitches.
Halloween lasts all month on this show, but Matt Wyatt, how you doing tonight?
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to get into the episode 3 through 6. No, 4 through 6.
4 through 6.
Yeah, 4 through 6. Yeah. Especially the fourth episode called Red, which I'm excited to go into this episode.
Yeah, before we dive in, though, talk about a wild contrast of quality, because we got Red, which was really good, and then we got Nocturne and Rideau, which are just two of the straight-up weirdest episodes of this entire show that I've personally seen. I was just sitting there like, what happened? Like, what was in this writing room when this was going down? But we can talk about that in a little bit. But first, I think it's time to dive into Season 2, Episode 4, called Red.
And now the WB's New Tuesday continues with Smallville. On the WB's New Tuesday, a startling transformation.
Anybody else?
Brings out the dark side of a hero.
Is this all-new Clark Kent?
Do you like him?
Desire is unleashed.
Clark Kent and Lex Luthor. I like the sound of that.
An identity twisted.
My abilities? I could make millions.
A trust betrayed. An all-new Smallville.
Quite simply, Clark gets his Smallville-class ring, but these rings contain red kryptonite, making him into Dark Clark. And yes, that is the official synopsis on IMDb, and that's pretty much what happens in this episode. We got the Bizarro Jonathan Kent last season. We're getting the Bizarro Clark Kent this season, and it was honestly kind of beautiful to see. At least for like the first 15-ish minutes, and then things happen. You're like, yeah, this definitely overstayed the welcome. But Jacob Collins, what did you think of the episode?
I really like this episode. This is my favorite episode of the three because you get to see Clark being an asshole to like everybody. Because usually he's the Boy Scout. He's just being like the first 5 seconds he puts it on, he literally insults the principal's fashion statement.
Besides, I don't think you should be the one giving fashion tips.
Like, talk about, we get fashion. We are fashion police, okay? But, like, this guy, literally, I'm like, Clark, really? I was, like, literally thinking about giving an invitation to Evil Clark for fashion statements. Because I'm like, you know what, Clark? You earned it. But then, you know what? He fucks up, too, and messes up his own fashion statement, because literally, all right, first off, the girl outfit. Have you noticed the girl's outfit, by the way? Like, she literally is wearing a black outfit with a red bra, okay? I'm like, you're wearing that. I understand you're wearing that for a purpose, but like, wouldn't you wear a black bra? Is that way it would match? It just doesn't match to me.
Like there is like a plot point in this episode where like I think her dad was like, "Are you really going to wear that?"
Like, right. It's not because it's skimpy. It's because it doesn't go together. That's my biggest statement. I'm sure Matt would disagree, but I think it's hard.
You always tackle the big issues on this show, Jacob. But Matt, what did you think of the episode?
Oh, dude, I love this episode. It's easily my favorite of the three because, like you said, 3DJ, Jacob, we get the chance to see Clark explore the darker side of him that we didn't see before. And because normally he's a goody two-shoe character and he's always the Boy Scout, but now we see him becoming the bad boy Clark, which it was. I love the scene where he just disses the acting principal, and I'm surprised he didn't take him to the principal's office after insulting his fashion.
I have a feeling that the principal was oddly respectful of this diss. Like, I am offended, but I also liked that, so I will.
It was like a TED moment.
I'm surprised they let him slide. It was like, no, principal, now in my office.
wouldn't he get suspended? I was expecting him like my office
or he get a
can't-
detention, or he
Like
probably would have gotten a
detention.
detention for like insulting the acting principal.
insubordinate behavior. Like,
And surprisingly, we never see him again.
he gets. By the way, last season he gets detention for swimming in the pool by Principal Quan, but this time around he doesn't get suspended. He doesn't get like all he does is just basically like he insulted it, and the principal just withheld tears and walks away.
Yeah, we'll talk about the new principal in the last episode we talk about in this show. But Matt, before we do move on, let us like yay or nay on this female character's fashion choices. I say no.
I'm not bothered by it. I'll give it a pass. I'll give it a V. Yay.
2 out of 3 wins. So we basically, me and Ryan voted. So Matt, sorry, we vote. But unfortunately, I will say, even though you're hot, your outfit choice was not.
Nap. But yeah, there is but this is really, like I said, this is Bizarro Clark. And at first I was getting into it. Like, he buys all the stuff like because he forgets how credit cards work.
I feel like I think it was so
Clark's
typical for a lot of shows that they max out credit cards and buying things they don't need and like getting all this garbage that you're never going to use. Like, that was a little too
He
like
buys a
typical
fucking
cliche
jet
show.
ski in Kansas. A fucking
He bought a
jet
fucking
ski.
he bought a canoe. He bought a
Like,
silk
where the
shirt.
fuck
Hey,
you
Martin was
going
like,
with that?
this is silk. Dude, he gets an electric guitar. And I remember that Earl taught him how to play the guitar and he kept snapping strings. So what the hell did you need an electric guitar, dude? You have super strength that you can't control when you play the guitar.
Jet ski. He bought a jet ski in the
Yeah, a
infamous
jet ski.
in
What
the
do you need a jet
infamous
ski for? You have
oceanfront-
superpowers. What the hell would you need that?
in
By the way-
infamous oceanfront property of Kansas.
By the way, did you guys notice the satellite dish too? That's how the
Yeah.
kids figure out something was off by the satellite dish. I'm like, you didn't see somebody? I'm sure Clark did not install that satellite dish.
No, I
Somebody
agree with
had-
you. I agree with you. I'm surprised that the parents didn't even notice that they were hooking up a satellite dish, or maybe
Hey, why is
Clark hooked up to himself without even noticing because he has super speed. He has superpowers to do it all
DirecTV has to
himself.
provide you with the satellite dish. So I would assume that Clark did not go and buy it directly. I'm sure that he called them on the phone and was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. Yeah, I don't gotta go to school early. Yeah, just come around like 6 a.m. Yeah." And by the way, Jonathan gets up and then looks outside. I'm like, okay, it's supposed to imply that it's 6:30 in the freaking morning, okay? Because Jonathan Kent wakes up around 5, 6. So you did not see. How would DirecTV? I don't know if you have. They don't come till like later. So I'm just like, how did Jonathan not notice DirecTV there in the morning, hooking up? I would be. There should be a scene where DirecTV's there, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
They would have heard. They would have heard that. They would have heard that if it was 6 in the morning and they woke. Unless they're a heavy sleeper.
How did DirecTV get there without Johnson noting? This week in Unsolved Mysteries.
Lord only knows one of them would notice when they turn on the TV and be like, "Hey, Martha, since when did we get the Learning Channel and the Food Network?" And
hey,
Playboy?
when did we get pay-per-view?
Why am I able to watch pay-per-view
Like, hey,
now?
why do I have HBO?
Like, Martha, I want to know, did Lionel Luther do this? And then she's like, no, after they're arguing for 10 minutes, and he walks outside and sees Clark's the one. And he's like, first, I don't understand. How would it with Jonathan? It shows you, again, Jonathan does not have any aware of his surroundings when it comes to his farm.
Yeah, but it goes from escapism, like buying things we could never buy, like guitars and jet skis and game cubes and satellite TV and all that, to like hurting people like real quick. Like, there's a brutal scene, and Jacob, you pointed this out to me, when Jonathan goes to confront Clark on it, and Clark like shoves him, and it's not like a human shove, because remember, Clark's an alien, so he like freaking shoves Jonathan and crashes him into the door. And I'm just like, it stopped being fun.
You never were.
Yeah, he doesn't need to like shove him that hard towards the truck because he has super strength. So yeah, he can just do a light shove. I mean, I don't know if that was made to be attention to hurt him, or maybe it was just an accident. Because you saw the look on his face, like, "Whoa, I cannot believe I did that."
I love how Clark literally, because he's like rebellious, he buys all that stuff. Then basically he steals Jonathan's motorcycle, which I'm like, why would you steal the motorcycle? You literally can super speed. I guess he's just doing it to be a dick because he knows.
I know, and
John.
maybe he just wanted to be cool. He wants to go in style, pick up a girl like Jesse along the way, give her a ride to school. And that was
That's
so
very
funny
convenient.
that Clark
Isn't that
was
very
just
convenient
like
that she
trying to
was
put the moves on Lana, especially when you're bringing Jesse to school. You're flirting with multiple women at once.
Also, I love how Jonathan pulls up the truck and he grabs Clark and is like, "We're gonna talk." Like that right there got me like, "Oh, this is."
Yeah,
Jonathan
he got a little bit aggressive with them, but this is what happens with if Clark was able to get out of hand and when his behavior starts to change.
Like Clark was about to go Homelander on Jonathan.
Oh yeah, this is like a PG-13 of Homelander.
He would have literally killed probably Jonathan if he hadn't thought about it. If he wasn't there, he probably would have hurt him more than which I thought everybody looked at him like he was a freak, and I'm like, that's kind of how because it's like this dude, and then like at the bar later when he takes Lana to the bar, and that literally is like like when he's like fights all them dudes and everything. It's like anyone else, and everybody looks at him like I would not mess with him.
Oh yeah, and Tom Welling even mentioned on the podcast that he was trying to do that whole Al Pacino. Anybody else?
Dick Clark is only fun for so long, but when that Jonathan scene happens, they're like, fun is officially over. But
yeah, but that's what happens the longer he wears that kryptonite ring, the worse he gets because it's affecting his emotional behavior of himself that has been bottled up inside.
He peeps on Chloe too. Literally,
he was peeping on both. He was peeping on both of them.
Did you see
like
that
Chloe's
got a birthmark on her cheek? And he goes, no,
not that cheek.
Not that cheek.
I
was like, you little pervert, Clark.
You dirty boy.
And I respect that. Good Clark would never do that. Like he would
you
never
dirty little bastard.
But evil Clark's like, I'm a dirty bastard. I'll do whatever I want. I just literally got DirecTV. Okay,
but dude, he was literally trying to get his friends Chloe and Pete and Lana to a bar. And he was literally putting the moves on Lana, literally going for it, being like straightforward. And
I laughed so hard though. I laughed so hard at the fact that he's sitting there trying to play a video game and has no interest. Like you can tell Tom Welling does not have any interest in playing a video game. I'm waiting for my cue for Jonathan and Martha to come up. I'm pretending like I'm playing a PlayStation. Oh, was it Nintendo 64?
No, it was a GameCube.
It was a game. It was a GameCube.
I'm sitting there waiting for my cue. He's just sitting there like, I feel like Tom has never played a video game in his life. He's just like,
yeah, he's just pretending to like play a video game.
Just like the most
he's just button mashing.
He's just doing this. What do I click? All right, where's my mom? All right, Jonathan number comes.
Wait a minute. Which one's A? Which one's B?
Also, besides dickish Clark, I do like that Lionel tries to take over. It's kind of like this episode represents two father-son dynamics. Because you have Lex and Lionel, that Lionel's taking over the mansion, and Lex and Lionel, and then of course Clark and Jonathan have a feud because this starts before when Clark goes behind Jonathan's back and buys this red meteorite. So it's like already Clark went over Jonathan's head before he became a dick.
It's almost like Lionel is an invasive species almost.
Lionel literally takes over Lex's mansion just to fuck with Lex because I have nothing. Lex is taking over the company right now, I guess. Like, well, he's not taking over, but he's just basically like running the company for a little bit while Lionel's like blind, and he's like, I guess I'll be a dick to Lex and just fuck with him a little bit.
Yeah, he takes over the company temporarily just so that he can get back on his feet and get used to his blindness.
But then Dick Clark, as he's reaching his prime, kind of screws around with Lionel, and that was fun.
Hey. Oh wait. What do you want?
That was really.
Oh yeah, that was
nice.
His
glasses.
He just takes it. Yeah, he takes his glasses and just toys with them. And he's like, "Hey, Mather, pack your bags and get the hell out." He's like, "Hey, Lex would be too afraid to tell you, but I'm not." Like, damn, dude. Like, he did not care. What really pushed Lex to like stand up to his own father and not be too polite for his pettiness.
Though I will, and this is kind of an aha moment on my part when Clark shoots the gun into his hand because Man of Steel and all that. I was like, You're literally giving up who you are to Lionel Luthor, the father of your best friend. Like, hello, but then I realized,
he's blind.
Yeah, we forget that he's blind. He was not so stupid enough to expose himself in front of Lionel if he didn't know he was blind.
Lionel, by the way, respected that too. Lionel was like, I respect that you speak your mind. That will get you places.
Oh,
like,
he's such an extraordinary boy.
Lionel went from being like, you're a dick, to when he said that, he goes, you're an asshole, but I respect that.
He will be like, yep, F you, but respect.
And he's like, they basically became friends after. one sentence because it's like I know the Kents raised such a little shit, but you just speak your mind. He goes, I respect that. That will get you places in life. And he goes, I hope to get to the top. And they're like, yep. He's like, I respect that. I'm like, what? That's all it takes is to be an asshole to Lionel?
Well,
like,
well, yeah. Hey, it's all about confidence and straightforward. I guess he just appreciates him being an asshole, even though he was raised by a good family that was supposed to treat others right. But then you see his behavior, like that's not like him. He should, but yeah, damn, like screw you, but respect.
Well, basically, also did it make you laugh when Clark goes and tells Lex, "I got a hot date tonight. I want to rock her world."
Yeah, 'cause that would usually be a Lex thing that Lex would say, not the other way around.
I don't think he would say rock her world. I'm like, that would have been a little too douchey to say it like that. Like, that's just like more of the bad boy attitude type of thing. I don't think Lex would say something like that.
I just think that, like, to me, I just think why? I mean, really. Also,
he paid an expensive suit, which I don't know how he's able to afford that.
Why is he wearing Lex's clothes? Why is Clark wearing Lex's outfit?
I don't even think he's wearing Lex's clothes. I think he just somehow were led to believe that he actually bought an expensive clothes.
He's wearing this really weird green shirt and a leather jacket. If we're doing the fashion police, why not? It's thumbs down for me.
Oh yeah, he's wearing a green t-shirt when he was like going out of the Kent barn, and he was wearing the leather jacket. The sunglasses choice was terrible. It sucked. The sunglasses was terrible. Like, come on, you couldn't find any good shades to make him look like a Terminator look.
It feels like he's the non-union legal discounted, like, what's it, Ryan, say that, what's it called? Non-union,
off-brand, non-union, legally distinct
Terminator.
That, yes.
Which by the way, also Clark is wearing is like that jacket, which I'm like, that to me also is kind of shitty. I'm like, why is Clark wearing a long, like, I'm like, wouldn't Lex be like, whoa, what are you at first I would be like, why are you trying to dress like me? Also, Clark wears that stupid muscle shirt as well, like at the bar. I'm like, what are you, a farmer Fred? What are you trying to be, Larry the Cable Guy or something?
Get her done.
It's just like, I don't understand this, like Clark's fashion. Like, I don't know. I think bad boy Clark thinks. Oh,
I mean, if you wore like a black t-shirt, then yeah, I would believe it. But then wearing a muscle shirt, like, I don't know. That's very that's a little too over the top.
That's a little bit rednecky.
That's so rednecky. That is
so like, I'm just waiting for Clark to have like a hat, a get her done hat. And just like, I mean, that's just literally.
I mean, that was seriously messed up when they were going to the bar. He's bringing Lon over on a date, and suddenly he decides to flirt with Jesse and dance and makes out with him. Like, what the hell are you doing, Clark? What a dick! It's like, hey, whatever happened to spend every time you want? No, because you literally profess your love to Lana, and you were literally showing how much you love her, that you were willing to be together, and then you just go off and try to flirt with other women. Like, what a dick!
The Klon relationship definitely took a hit in this episode, but it's like by the ending, it was like, oh, we're making up. It's fine now. It's like, no.
I was like, fuck you. That's what Lana was like.
I don't know. I don't think that if this was like realistic, I don't think they would be that forgiven so easily. I don't think it would have not have flied like that.
Also, Chloe says the stones are made from meteorite, okay? And she's mad about that. I'm like, most stones, high school class rings, are made from some sort of stone, which are basically like rocks. So I'm like,
yeah, they're not going to use real rubies. They're not going to use real.
It's not like the meteorites were fake. Like, it's not like they went and got like something like, you know how some jewelry is not real diamond. It's just like a little thing that they, like little plastic.
I mean, it's no surprise that Smallville is like looking for another meteorite, but now they found another color that is not green. Now it's red. We finally see Chloe discovering a new color of the meteorite, the big reveal. And it shows you that there's a reason why Clark's behaving like this. I mean, it was a foreshadowing the moment he puts that on and the veins popping up from red veins of him and the red eyes. I was like, what the hell is going on? But if you're someone who's a Superman fan, you already know there's been a bunch of multiple color kryptonite that affects him differently.
The problem I have is the guy goes to the mansion for Lionel Luthor, pulls a gun out on Clark and Lionel. I'm like, where the fuck is Lionel's security? Because if a guy pulls a gun out, wouldn't like his security drop the gun? I want to blow your head off.
Well, he didn't call security yet. He did say he was going to call security afterwards. But also the people in the gate let him in. I was like, wait, what?
Well, it has been long established in this show that the Luther Mansion has about the worst security ever. Like you could literally walk into their kitchen, make a sandwich, and walk out, and you'd be fine. So
Yeah, for someone who's a billionaire and is the most powerful person in the world, you seriously could not afford a best security guard.
There's a precedent there.
I mean, one question that always bothered me a little bit, that the U.S. Marshal, I don't even think he's really a U.S. Marshal. I think he's just impersonating because Jesse and her dad are on the witness protection program because they're on the run and they got like evidence to start the clean slate from their ex-employee that they're being hunted by. So I think that might be the guy who is hunting them, that he wants that computer disk.
Yeah, I think that too. And also, like, he
Because he killed her ex-boyfriend in a bathtub.
Is he in like a hot ice bath or something? Because like
I think it
looks
was.
like he's in a metal bucket
the ice
and bathing. I'm like, what the fuck are you? Is this like
Jacob,
a gym? Where is this?
Jacob,
what is
you sent me some notes earlier, and I wanted to bring this up. It's one of those ice bath things. Athletes do it. It's like a cold bath or a bath.
Sort of note saying, why would he be bathing in that? It looks like he's in a bucket and they just put a bunch of water.
But it kind of looks like he's in a bucket with it looks like a bubbling hot jacuzzi that he's in. It doesn't look like he's in an ice bath because the whole water's bubbling.
How we talked about the hospital doesn't look like a hospital. This does not look like a gym. It just looks like they're either in like a little warehouse or something.
Yeah, it does look like
that. A bunch of like, oh look,
and he gets murdered in a freaking radio, electrocuted. I was like, you idiot, just get the hell out of there. You should know by now he's about to dump that shit in the tub.
Also, wouldn't the guy, if someone said, hey Ryan, if I was bringing a radio, if I just told you I cannot let you call her, you might tell her, and I'm bringing a radio towards you, wouldn't you get the hell out?
That would be my first instinct. Like, don't you watch movies? That's shit that can happen like that.
Literally the Goldfinger death. Like the first death that we see in like the first 10 minutes of Goldfinger. Like Bond throws an electric.
I mean, I laugh every time I watch the scene when he gets electrocuted because they did a commentary on the DVD and Michael Rosenbaum makes fun of it, and that will get me every time I watch it. Now I cannot take it seriously.
I love that man. I love him.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He does not shy away when it comes to criticism as much as he loved being on that show.
But he makes it worth shitting on. Also, I like the scene where Clark chases after her, like the she's in the
chasing after her in the
he's just
cornfield,
standing there waiting for her. Like that creeped me out when she was running and she's seeing if she.
That was like a horror movie. That almost felt like a horror movie.
It felt like some creepy shit. He just stares at her in that.
But him destroying some of the things because he's want to look for the disc because he wants to get rich and famous.
And then Jonathan shows up. Which, by the way, how would Jonathan know where Clark is?
Well, no, I believe that what Pete mentioned that Lionel Luthor said that he's going after Jesse, so he probably had a hunch. And probably, and how did he know? Yeah, but how did they? But yeah, I agree that how did Pete and Jonathan knew where Jesse lives?
How did they know where Jesse lives? Ryan, I think we have some unsolved mysteries. How did Ryan
on the next episode of the Unsolved Mysteries?
How did they know where Jesse lived, and how did they know she ran into a cornfield?
Yeah, I think we covered just about everything. Overall, this was a really strong episode. The strongest of the three by quite a bit.
I loved it.
Jacob, what's your rating 1 to 10?
I want to say 9, but I really just feel like I want to say 8. 8 out of 10.
All right.
I don't know why, but I just feel like 8 out of 10.
One thing I wanted to mention was when he was going out of the bar and he was about to leave and take Lex's porch, and now he's discovering that he's been infected by the red kryptonite, and you can see that how much that he has things that bottled up, that he's through being poor, he's through the not having all the things he wants, but Jonathan is trying to tell him, like, we're trying to protect you. And even if you want to become famous, there's always going to be someone out there that will exploit you of your abilities. It's something much worse. So having all the abilities, it's not going to have every money that can buy. But and you just tell him how much really worse he was getting. The more and even he was like, "You really don't want to touch me." I was like, "Damn," because he knows that he can't physically stop him, and he was getting a little bit aggressive, really threatening. Which that was the one thing that you always got to do. You got to have a green kryptonite because without it, he's indestructible. There's nothing you can do to stop him.
Yeah, the lone weakness. Well, what's your rating, Matt?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to give this thing a 9 out of 10. I really loved it. It's my favorite of the 3. Like I said, it really shows you a different side of Clark that we have not seen before because we're always seeing Clark, the Boy Scout, the guy who always does the right thing by others. when we see a different behavior of Clark, what if he behaves differently when he has all these powers and nothing you can do to stop him? That's scary. Like, even if he was meant to be good, but there's other ways that he can go in a different direction.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Matt. I'm going to go 9 as well. Really strong episode. I really did enjoy this one. Really big feelings all around, and feels like there was forward momentum, and feel like the ripple effects of this will be felt in later on in the season. I know you all can't tell me, but
I know.
Go on. Can I
But
say
it was a
one thing?
good scene by the end when they were in the dinner table, and he's like, when I put that ring on, I had the urge to tell the world my secret, and I had 2 separate identities, and I don't know which one's the real me. I was like, wow, that's just have a lot of great character growth with Clark.
yeah,
Before we go on, can I say one thing?
yes.
I like though when I did not like this, but when Clark goes in there for the first time, shows him the meteorite, and Jonathan's like, "You can't do this," and he goes, I'm tired of not being able to worry about every nickel and dime. And I'm just like, why is he why like a little bitch right now? Like Clark, I mean, he should be like,
because Jonathan's being a cheapskate, bro. And it was so funny.
Like,
it was so funny that Martha's like, I see who
though.
defines her father who buys an expensive motorcycle.
Like, this dude literally just bought a fucking motorcycle, and then Clark's like, oh, I can't buy a class ring, but yet you can buy a fucking motorcycle, you asshole.
It's like, you dick.
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy.
Motherfucker. And Clark takes it. I'm taking your fucking motorcycle too, old
And
man.
he just jacked his ride. That was so funny. He's like, fuck you.
Like, I mean, that right there is the funniest shit ever. I just thought about
But
it.
one thing I want to bring up, and I keep forgetting, that Lex just stands up to Lionel now for the first time. He's like, stop at, and one line that always stood out to me is like, dun 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 moment. Stop acting like your blindness, giving your excuses for pity. I was like, damn, dude.
If I was Lex, I'd kick his cane too, so he has to go on the floor.
Kick his cane until he tips over and falls.
Yeah.
Like, I've got my eyes on you, Dad. Do you get it? But let's take
I got my eyes on you, Dad.
let's take a dip in quality so steep you might as well confuse it for the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Let's talk about season 2, episode 5, called Nocturnal.
I thought this would have been a great episode if they would have actually made Tribe and wrote a good episode.
It is actually called Nocturne, excuse me.
And now the WB's New Tuesday continues with Smallville. On the WB's New Tuesday, a dark obsession.
Lana has a secret admirer.
This guy's sneaking around watching you.
A mysterious rival.
I got your other poem. It's beautiful.
Now Clark must act on his passion.
Always told you to go for it, but you don't.
Or lose her forever. An all-new Smallville.
Lana Lang finds some poems from a secret admirer in the gravestone of her parents in the cemetery. Nothing creepy about that whatsoever. Later, she meets the author, Byron Moore, a weird teenager, no shit, kept locked by his parents in the basement of their farmhouse. They believe the boy is abused by his parents. Oh yeah, he is. But soon they realize that he was the subject of an experiment of a laboratory of Luthor which made him powerfully evil and super strong when he comes into contact with sunlight. They basically turned him into a vampire, folks. Meanwhile,
more like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Meanwhile, Martha Kent is invited to work as the assistant of Lionel Luthor, and she accepts the invitation under the reluctance of Jonathan Kent. So yeah, real steep dip in quality. This feels like they were obligated to make this episode because it was coming out around Halloween time. It came out October 22nd, 2002.
Why am I shocked about that?
So it feels a very Halloween-y episode, which I love. I mean, look at my background, for crying out loud. But I don't know. I did not care for this one at all. Jacob, what about it?
Well, I just want to say one thing. This episode, I could literally not give a shit. This is probably my least favorite episode of season 2. Actually, no, there's one other. But like, I really, really hated watching this movie, okay? And I'm sitting here watching this movie. I'm not watching this on a TV show. I'm watching this episode, and I'm like, why the fuck? He has a good concept, okay, about what the boy's abusive parents, and then of course you have like a boy that's running around trying to pretend like he's from like the 1500s or something, going, "Oh yes, Lorna, oh I love you, oh yeah, oh, I wrote you poetry." And I'm like, dude, you're fucking dude, you're in Kansas, okay?
Yeah, you're literally Carrie. Like you're the boy version of Carrie White.
That's what it really
no,
was.
don't
That's
just
really what it
that,
really
okay?
was Carrie.
Don't compare the great Carrie to that piece of shit character Byron.
No, I'm not
Carrie's
comparing. I'm just saying that it's virtually like that. The opening of this episode was crazy. Like the dude like spying on Lana, and then all of a sudden his dad like shoots him with a trank, and I'm just sitting there like, what in the most dangerous game is going on here? Like who?
I mean, I thought it was a gunshot. I thought it was like at first when I watched this, the sound, it should not sound like that when you're firing a tranquilizer. It should go like psh, psh, like that, not like boom. I was like, God damn, did you just shoot your own son? It was just a little bit of a typical part where they're trying to protect his own son because they know when he goes out in the sun, he turns into the Jack and Mr. Hyde thing, a monster that he can't control because the last time he went out in the sun, he hurt his dad. But they're being abusive. They're supposed to be the caring and protecting him and telling him why he can't go out in the daylight. And we're trying to protect you. But they literally treated him like a prisoner and chained him up downstairs in the basement, which I'm sorry, that was pretty shitty parenting in my opinion.
Yeah, and they look like they live in the house from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I'm just sitting there like, has no one looked into this? Like,
it looked shady. It looked so shady. I think it was just. I think it was probably the writers.
Shit all over their yard.
I think it might have been. I think it was probably done on purpose to make us to fool the viewers at home that they're horrible parents, that they treated them like garbage and treated them like a prisoner, not letting them go out in the world. That was part of the whole suspense, even though I don't agree with that direction. But that was the whole plot twist. That there's a reason why they're keeping them in the basement and locked up. But I wish that they could have handled it a little bit differently and act like more caring instead of emotionally abusive parents, if that makes any sense.
This dude escapes multiple. Why wouldn't the dad at least think, hey, maybe I should go look at the fucking walls and make sure? Because obviously, if like you have a dog that gets out of your freaking pen, you check the fucking pen. You don't just go around looking around going, oh, well, my son keeps getting out, so I'll just put a shotgun to his face every fucking night and hopefully he doesn't, get out.
He literally threatens him. He literally threatens him with a gun. I think it's just because it might have been fear because he's still scared of him because after the incident that happened during the daytime when he transforms and injures him and nearly kills him.
Sus behavior. Go ahead, Jake.
I was just going to say, they chain him up. There is no bathroom. So during the day, how does he go to the bathroom?
Like, they probably use a bucket.
Do they just let him shit in a bucket or something? Or do they just
They probably did. You never know. They could have given him a bucket to take a dump.
Knowing this family, they probably did some Buffalo Bill type stuff. Like it puts the lotion in the basket or else it gets the hose again. You never know.
Insert clip, Ryan. Insert clip.
Oh, the clip is going in. There's no doubt.
Rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Also, yeah, like, how does he poop though? Literally, like, besides that, like, does he poop? How does he poop?
The smell in that basement.
It must have smelled really bad. But did you know that downstairs in the basement is the same set design from the storm cellar from the Canton farm?
Legit. I
rewatched that last night and I caught it. I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely the same set, except they just dump a bunch of crap in the basement.
And he dresses like he just got off the set of Interview with a Vampire with Tom Cruise.
like he's in he's in the fucking 15th century. Like, what century are you living in? You know you're living in the modern day, bro.
No, he like he doesn't like Edgar Allan Poe's poetry, and yet he dresses like him.
And I do agree that was very odd that he comes off of a little bit of a creepy stalker, but then the writer's like, no, don't worry, he's helpless, he's misunderstood, he's not what you think. And I agree with Clark, like, dude, it sounds very stalkery. Like, I don't give a shit if you're giving poems to a pretty girl out in the middle of a night, which in a cemetery, which I don't know why Lana is out at 2 a.m. It's curfew. It's a school night. And she sneaks out of the house and just visits her parents' grave at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Like, it's a nice thing, but at the same time, it's like, it's 2 a.m. You should be in bed.
Clark gets so jealous of this boy. He's like, someone's writing Lana poetry. And then, like, literally just basically, like, the boy falls over, knocks his head down. Then they bring him to get him something to eat rather than going to the doctor. Like the dude not fell on his head. Wouldn't you go? Like
he was
if
bleeding.
I fell on my head, wouldn't you go? And I'm bleeding. I would go to the hospital. I would not bring him to a diner to feed him some food.
Yeah, Clark, Lana, my brother and sister in Christ.
Just put some ice on it. Just put some ice on your head and you'll feel better, pal.
You literally stumbled. You literally stumbled upon like the home game of a boy called It, and your first instinct is to give him some chocolate cake. Like,
hey, you got to you got to feed the guy.
And they would have gave
that guy's got to eat.
If they would have brought him to the hospital, they would have had an alibi.
Yeah.
Because then the doctor.
You're probably right. That would have worked a lot better because if they would have brought him to the hospital, there's your alibi.
Also,
there's your proof.
Can we talk about how ineffectual the Smallville police are? They're just a bunch of boobs. Like between arresting a Kent family member every other episode, they had
no problem. They had no problem arresting the Kent family whenever they get accused of a crime that they did not commit. And Sheriff Ethan just had no problem putting the cuffs on Clark. Or Jonathan. The cop did. I think the sheriff did believe the Kents. I think that they just need a search warrant. Because right now they don't have a search warrant to search the place, to search the house.
There is some positive things about this episode, okay? I will say, I do say the boy, the man that made me laugh is when Clark frees him and Pete free him, and then all of a sudden, he becomes like the Jekyll Hyde Wolfman, whatever you want to call the fucker. He becomes a monster and then throws Clark. Clark goes, whoa! I just laughed so hard.
Well, it was so funny, but it caught him off guard. Like he did not know how strong he was going to be, and then he tosses Pete like, damn, what's that? And they know that, according to Tom Welling, that he mentioned on the podcast, that the stunt guy, Pete's stunt, Sam Jones' stunt double that gets tossed inside of the house near the car, gets hit by the windshield. He literally threw himself off the damn house. No one pushed him off. There was no wires. I was like, holy crap. That took a lot of commitment and balls to pull off that stunt work. I'm surprised you didn't get neck injury or brain damage.
Absolutely.
Also,
but Pete got a slap on the wrist. He got patched up on the wrist when everything else should have gotten patched up.
Why wouldn't the cops ask to search the house too? Like you would say, if they say no, then you know there's something there. Because most cops, I understand you can't do that without a warrant, but like still, I would say, come on. Like if the cop asks to search the house, and you say no, there's something fishy there. Byron's outfit. That is like Ryan foreshadowed earlier. It looks like something from an Interview with a Vampire. Why would he be wearing that? Wouldn't he be wearing like a white overalls, or wouldn't he be wearing something like that?
Wouldn't he be wearing a hit clothes, like a hillbilly southern clothes?
Why would he be dressed like he's from the 1700s? I'm like, why the hell would they dress him like that? He's wearing no shirt, but yet he finds like a long trench coat later on. It never explains how he got the trench coat.
He's wearing a long trench coat, shirtless, looking all badass.
Looks like Morbius from the cartoon.
Oh dear God.
Oh my God, I did not think about it.
It looks like Morbius.
I mean, speaking of the actor, the dad, if you recognize him, he played the Hell Ghost in Scary Movie 2. He's done a lot of voice acting work for the DC animated show like Justice League, Superman, and Batman. And he was in Spider-Man, the animated series. Yeah, so he's done a lot of great voice acting. The guy who played the father.
I do like this. There are parts I like. Like I like the Lionel aspect of this episode, where Lionel basically fires a dude and then like he's firing a dude. And then the dude insults his blindness by like saying, "As you can see," or something like that to that effect, and Lionel just basically like fires at that.
Too soon.
Yeah, look, I know it's not the same actor and everything, but this dude looks like Paul Allen from American Psycho.
Jared Leto, Morbius himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know it's not the same actor, but I know Jared Leto's not in this show. But at the same time, I was just sitting there thinking,
he looked like him. He looked like him for a little bit.
Like, don't turn around. Like Patrick Bateman's behind you with an axe, my guy.
I like that Lionel Lex was mad because like I have literally hired. This guy is a well-educated guy, and you're basically just firing him. It's like you're basically spitting in my face by firing all these people. And then I love the Lionel Luthor Prometheus story. You know how he tells them about Prometheus, the story of Prometheus? That right there, I thought that felt such like a good moment. Like that right there is because Lionel loves telling like tragedies and Greek mythology. And so
Yeah,
for
it's
him
part
to,
of like an analogy thing that
yeah,
and teaching them like lessons that reflects in right now.
yeah, like he said, you're not gonna make me Prometheus, Lex. I know you're trying to make me like Prometheus, let somebody eat the vultures, eat me alive, and I'm not gonna let that happen.
Well, you already know what John Glover does. He knows how to deliver great dialogue with the whole Greek myths and make referencing other stuff to give him a lecture.
And I love that he hired Martha. Like, and Lex gets really pissed off about that because
But don't you think that was a little bit of a dick move on Martha's part when for working for a guy that Jonathan despises so much? I mean, I get that the farm is out of debt right now, and they're having money troubles, and she has no other choice to find a job that has good pay so that they can keep the farm running a lot longer and maintain it. But it was kind of a little bit of it's kind of a dick move that the first thing she goes to find work is to Lionel Luthor.
I mean, the old saying goes, beggars can't be choosers.
And
there you go. That's the one.
Also, like Lionel, like I like how the boy goes to kill Lionel Byron, and what I like is also like Byron destroys everything, but he like throws Clark and destroys the shed, and he destroys the car with Pete. But then when he runs to the gate, he opens the gate gently and then runs out of it.
Like, it was kind of stupid for Lana to go and confront like Myron at the cemetery and try to help him. And when Clark warned her not to because he's dangerous, but she goes against it. Like, what are you doing, you idiot? Like, you're literally going to get yourself killed when he's not himself and he's in a dangerous place right now and he's threatening.
I like how Byron does do when the helicopter sequence.
Oh yeah, when he was holding that helicopter
and grabs
with his incredible strength.
Like to kill him. I love that sequence. I thought that was so good.
That was insane.
Did you guys catch that line where Lex and Clark are talking? Clark is like, flying isn't a thing that my family really does. I'm like, oh, just you wait. Just you wait.
But didn't you think that was stupid, though, that Lex did not see that helicopter happen? Like, Michael Rosen pointed this out in Smalltalk. Talkville. He said, literally, this shit is happening right outside of the backyard, and Lex is literally in the office. You would think that, Lex would turn around and be like, hey, Clark just caught the helicopter. Or he'd walk outside and be like, Dad, I just saw what happened. Or, Dad, I heard something. Is everything okay? And instead, he's just like, you don't see Lex at all. And then he even made a joke saying, wouldn't it be great if after Clark saves the day, you just see Lex just watching through the window? Like,
dun, dun, dun. Big reveal. I was right about you all along, Clark.
Yeah, but instead, that's just like, Michael Rosen had issues with that. He's like, I'm not there at all. Like that scene, which he obviously wasn't there that day, but he said, like, it makes no sense for me not to be there, because it's my house. And also, like, Clark, there's a well randomly and conveniently. Clark pushes Byron down a well that just happens to be there. Random, convenient well that we've never seen before. And even though we've seen Lex's backyard before, yet there's a well, randomly plot device well, that they push him down. And then Byron's like, oh, are you okay?
No, that's where the Batcave is, you see.
Well, you know how with rich billionaire, they have a small underground.
Yeah, that's every rich person has a Batcave. It's just it comes with the territory. But I think we covered just about everything. This was not a good episode. I think we're poking fun at it like more than we probably should.
There's one on the nose dialogue with Chloe calling Clark the Man of Steel. No one caught that part. I
did not.
Oh my! It was the part when he was giving Clark the poem that Myron had wrote to Lana at the school in the Torch.
I swear they give poor Allison Mack like all of like the lines of "You're going to say all of the Superman Easter eggs throughout the entire show." But anyway, let's go to ratings. Jacob, what you got?
I'm trying to think what's 3 out of 10.
Wow.
All right, Matt, what about you?
I thought it was an okay episode. I don't think it was one of the worst episodes I've seen. It's my least favorite of the 3, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
I'm going to go 5. There were some good parts, like Lionel and all of that whole thing, but the villain was weak. I was just feeling more bad for him, like basically becoming like male Carrie than actually being scared of him. It felt like it belonged in season 1, if that says anything. But speaking of belonging in season 1, let's move on now to our final episode we'll be talking about in this show. Season 5, episode number 6, called Rideau.
And now the WB's New Tuesday continues with Smallville. Next week on the WB's New Tuesday, an all-new Smallville. Newsday calls it the hot show of the season. In a town filled with secrets,
I'm not gonna let you hurt anyone else.
the unimaginable will be revealed. The first of 5 all-new Smallvilles. Next week on the WB's New Tuesday.
At Smallville High School, a swimmer mysteriously ages and dies after meeting his girlfriend, Chrissy Parker. The new principal, Reynolds, arrives and comes into conflict with Clark because he is a friend of Lex Luthor's. Clark asks Chloe to investigate Principal Reynolds' history, as well as Chrissy, whom they suspect is a life-draining freak, yes, and needs 3 youths to stay eternally young every 12 years. So she's the villain from Jeepers Creepers, almost, with less time. Meanwhile, the Kents are having financial problems, and Martha contacts her estranged father, whom she hasn't seen for 20 years, to borrow some money, much to Jonathan's disapproval. Lana Lang also finds an old picture of her mother with an apparent boyfriend. After not getting any help from Aunt Nell, Lana then asks Lex to help her investigate. So this is a loaded episode, and it really did not need to be. There is so much going on here between Clark's stuff with the grandfather that shows up out of nowhere and it's probably gonna be never mentioned ever again. Then there's the Jeepers Creepers villain, and then there's Principal Reynolds, who I'm pretty sure saw Lean on Me.
Dude, 3D, he's done right now. He's still
I just like can't stop laughing because
he's
what's
still
ironic
laughing.
is tomorrow, me and Ryan and Jacob Martin, Lactastic Media, are watching Jeepers Creepers.
But what Jacob is referring to, this is going to be airing on Tuesday, but Friday, the 29th of September, we're going to be doing a Jeepers Creepers 2 watch along over on Jacob's channel. So that will have happened by the time this airs.
Oh boy, he's done.
Imagine she had her own theme song, like imagine she looked like. I will say she's not cannibalistic. She just likes to kill people and suck.
She just sucks the life force out of people so she can stay young.
Although one could say she did suck a guy's eyeballs out of him.
No, he sucked the life out of him so bad that he like deteriorated.
Wait, wasn't that fucking idea? Wasn't it so stupid though? When they're like, they found him behind a dumpster. Chloe says they found him behind a dumpster, and he looked like 100 years old. I'm like, that motherfucker looked like the crypt keeper. I mean, are you seriously telling me that he was alive? His eyeballs got sucked into. And
did you know that the girl's boyfriend Troy? That's the same character that was in the other first
man.
Yeah, the one who bullied the sister for the Invisible Man episode. They brought him back, and
they bring him back again too in season 4.
Well, I don't know that that's the same guy. That might have been a different character because from what I've heard, that he's dead. Like he aged, an old man died of an old age.
Back again. They bring him.
Yeah, but they brought back the same actor, but they didn't bring back the same character because you got to remember a lot of shows like the CW, they tend to bring back a lot of supporting characters who are the same actors, but they play different characters.
By the way, this guy that played the guy that kissed her and then went and became an old man, he was in Freddy versus Jason. He's the one that gets killed in the house at the beginning by Jason.
Yeah, he gets folded into the fucking bed by Jason.
Oh, that's the guy? Oh, wow.
That is the guy.
Don't make me ask you twice.
Let me ask you twice, okay? Duh.
Speaking of Jason, Principal Reynolds is the coroner who is the first victim of Jason, and Jason goes to hell. I did not need to be reminded of that movie's existence, but let's go.
Play that clip when you reference him. Play that clip of eating the heart.
Believe me, I am, but this principal was too much. Like, this guy basically watched Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman exactly once, and he said, that's going to be my entire personality now.
That's going to be my personality now, Clark. I'm going to give you a 5. I'm saying, what are you going to be for 5 years from now? He's trying to sound like Morgan Freeman from Lean on Me. He's trying to be the hard-ass.
Crazy Joe? Well, now you can call me Batman.
My biggest issue with this episode is there's 3 different fucking plots going on. But this was shot, by the way, they've said on Talkville, this was shot during season 1. but because they were the showrunners, from what I remember, the showrunners out from Gruff and Miles Miller, because they were new at being showrunners, because they usually were Hollywood screenwriters. They were trying to figure out how to do this all because they were shooting Jitters, I believe, Metamorphosis, and this episode all at the same time, to where they were like, "Look, we need to stop." And so I think they stopped this episode and Jitters, and then they focused on Metamorphosis because like that's going to be episode 2. So they had they said they had rotating directors on what Metamorphosis. And then
really?
on this one, they had 2 different directors also on this one. And they said this was a very hard episode to do because they said they were telling people, "Hey, look, you got to go. We need to put you on hold." And like the girl Maggie Lawson said, like I was on hold. Like they told me, "Hey, look, we're gonna get to your stuff, but it's gonna be a couple of weeks. It might be a couple of days, but like we need to focus on the other 2 episodes before we get to you." And then they basically told her that she finished it, but then they shot her and said, we'll get to you. And then they basically, it was like a week, but then they never aired her episode. And she's like, I guess they canceled it. But then they just pushed it because they went so behind schedule. They pushed, like, they only could get up to 21 episodes. And so that's why there's only 21, not 22. And so they're like, hey, well, guess what? Rather than writing a filler episode, let's just take the filler episode and cut anything out like Whitney and stuff. Like literally, they said Whitney was in the episode. They had to cut Whitney out of the episode and then just put him in here.
It makes too much sense. There's so much going on here, and it just feels like it's completely transplanted from season 1 into here. Like we got the grandfather that's probably never going to be mentioned again. I know you all can't tell me, but I just have a feeling.
Can we though?
Yeah, we can because he's not.
We can. He's a one-off character.
You never see this guy again.
You will never see the grandfather again.
I knew it.
Which that really pissed me off because I thought it played a lot of prominent of the Kent family, of the whole relationship, building it off that he was willing to come in and help out her daughter, that they're having financial troubles and telling that and having that big like internal conflict between Jonathan and the grandfather, that hey, she made a big mistake by marrying you. Like she could have had a future. Like she wasn't always a farmer before she met Jonathan because her family had politician.
You know what? And also I think because there's three different plots. Like plot A is basically Jonathan and Martha and Clark. Plot B is Lana trying to go find her long lost father, and then plot C is plot B is the principal and Lex, and then plot C is the Jeepers Creepers girl. And so basically that should have been plot A because that to me was the most exciting story of the episode.
I'm not gonna lie, the Jeepers Creepers girl was completely an afterthought. Didn't need to be in this episode. If you would have taken, no, I swear to God, if you take this out, it wouldn't have changed in effect of the outcome. Because we got things going on with the grandfather. We got things going on with the principal, between the principal and Lex Luthor.
But they need the villain of the week. They needed a villain.
Yeah, they need a freak of the week. They need another freak of the week, because you already know how CW, when they shoot 23 episodes, they're going to add in freak of the week. But for this one, even though the freak of the week was my least favorite part of the episode, at least it moved the story a little bit further, even though that we're not going to see the grandfather ever again, which that was kind of stupid. Like, what the hell was the point of all this?
Yeah,
I do think
Jeepers Creepers girl kind of looked like Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, she does have the similarity. She does look similar to the actress.
But yeah, she's Maggie Lawson.
The resemblance.
Did you ever see the TV show Psych? It's her.
No, I've heard she was on it, but I never watched the show. I know it became one of the big popular hits on USA. I wanted to check that show out.
That's still a show. Still, like, even though it ended, they still have movies that are coming out of Psych. Like I just like they're like on the 4th movie right now of Psych. You know, and they got their own podcast as well because she was on Talkville for that episode, and then she invited Michael Rosenbaum and them on their Psych podcast. I'm like, what?
Yeah, she had a double feature.
Which, you know what? I'm glad for her because she's not bad actress. She is not terrible.
No, she's a really good actress.
I mean, like
her role. Her character was the weakest part of the episode, but I thought she did the best she could.
Yeah, I mean, it's not her fault. She was given.
Hey, she got a bad material. It happens a lot of guest stars who are very talented and had the potential to do more, but they just got a bad material.
I do like though that the idea of it's cool, like a girl draining you to relive her. It's. I think now I just said that sounds stupid. It's like, okay, basically you drain people's youth, so you can relive your high school senior year. Like you have the fountain of youth, basically. You could go around killing homeless people and then being young forever. why not go do that? You could be a successful businesswoman and build your own empire. Instead, she's just basically killing people. And she's like, I just want to be a high school senior forever. I'm like, nobody wants to be a high school senior forever. Nobody, like, who thought of that? It's like,
I mean, yeah, you want to relive your high school days, but you don't want to do it every goddamn time of every 12 years. I mean, that's kind of miserable.
Wouldn't Chloe see her though in the yearbook, or like, hey, that girl was here in 1955?
They did though.
Hey.
So technically, she's not a meteor freak because the meteor shower didn't happen until '89. So if this was taken all the way back to the '50s, so she might have been a metahuman.
But I thought there was a scene where freaking Chloe had like the sight up and she was like, oh, she was here. Oh, she was here. Like all the way back to like the 19.
Maybe she was. I was trying.
They even the teachers and they see the yearbooks. They still haven't figured that out that this is the same person that is very identical, and somehow she was able to get away with it for like over decades, like three or 4 decades, if my math is correct.
Also, her death is so stupid too. Like she
it was
in a
so
mirror
stupid.
And gets like Evil Dead, turns into
it felt very Evil Dead vibe in the third act, but at the time she dies, it felt very much of a anticlimactic.
Like, you remember the witch in Army of Darkness, the one that
that
at the beginning of the movie, she goes, "I'll fly your soul." It looked just like that lady at the end. I'm like, I was like, oh my god, she looks like an Evil Dead, the Deadeye. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, it just. Also, the principal keeps nagging her about this, and then she's like, "My parents are dying." I'm like, I kind of found that moment laughable because I'm like, she does not look convincing. It looks like she's in the makeup. It doesn't look like she's really old. And then she's like, I will say though, I did like when she kissed the guy and turned him, but you could tell how fake it was. It was like the CGI kiss, and she's like,
yeah, it was a little dated, but you know what? I'll give that a pass because this was in 2002.
I did like the corpse, how it turned into a corpse. And then I like
he turned it into a deteriorated corpse.
Also, like, I didn't like Lex's shades. I liked how Lex gave Clark a
the shades is a little. His
shades were cheesy as hell. Like, he has those weird shades on, and I'm just like, come on, Lex, you're not goofy, you're not doofus. Take the shades off. He's just like talking the whole time in shades, like with the shades on. I'm like, I can't take Lex seriously right now.
But I appreciate the backstory that the principal was given from Lex. That he had history at Excelsior. That was a good part of that episode that I really enjoyed. It was like, oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of foreshadowing about his history, like during his younger days.
Like that part of it was fine. I remember like when we first see him, he's standing at the barricade. It was like, you're 5 minutes late. That means detention. I'm like, good luck enforcing that rule, my guy. It's like here in Florida, there's a whole thing with cell phones in high schools. So like, yeah, good luck enforcing that. Like, good luck, guys. But I don't know. This principal was just way.
I think it's just one of the hard-ass principal that wants to show consequences to their students every time they're tardy, because Clark had a lot of tardy, a lot more than usual.
He oversteps his bounds by saying you should not be friends with this person. I'm like, that's.
Oh yeah, he did overstep his boundaries by antagonizing Clark because he's friends with Lex Luthor.
I'm like, dude, that's none of your fucking business, man.
I was like, stay out of my business. Like, what the fuck are you coming at me? Like, what the hell?
I mean, seriously, like that to me. And then on top of that, Lex, literally, by the way, Lex, okay, he puts a barricade up so nobody can get in the school. But yet, how does Lex is able to show up at the pep rally, is able to show up at the school? Like, Lana texts him and asks him a favor, and then Lex shows up there. I'm like, he just put the gate up. So did you jump over the barricade, Lex? How did you get inside the school?
Yeah, good question.
Because he literally put the barricade up. So I'm like,
yeah, and he literally got in like no sweat.
Joe Clark wouldn't have let anyone in with the barricade locked, but anyway, but yeah, I did I thought it was interesting what they were doing with Lana and the whole thing about her parents. And like looking at these photos, I feel like we were theorizing a while back that this may have been Jonathan, but this dude did not look like Jonathan. At least
apparently it's someone else. That's not Jonathan, nor her birth father, by that matter.
I mean, Lana's father, yeah. But I will say this though. So basically, like, didn't I feel like they wanted to do something else, like they retconned that? Didn't it feel like a retcon to you? Where it's like, oh, this
I don't
is
know.
her father now. This is Lana's father.
I think there was just a whole reveal that they dated a while and then she got pregnant from the guy that she was dating before they got married.
It felt like they needed a plot point because they had nothing for Lana.
They gotta give her something to do to add more drama to Lana because they don't have anything else
right now. Besides, we don't want her to be a damsel in distress for like 3 episodes,
which she kind of is majority of the show.
I feel like this plot twist walked so that in Arrow, when it's revealed that what's her face, the sister of Oliver, is in reality the daughter of Malcolm Merlyn.
Merlyn, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's eerily.
That is a better plot.
Yeah, it's very simple. That was very similar to the plot twist of the whole lineage.
But which, by the way, it would have been more interesting if Lana was the sister of Lex. That would have been more fascinating plot.
I don't know. I would not like that twist. That would have been dumb. Like, come on, no. I would not like the whole lineage blood to Lex from Lana. Like, no, it wouldn't make any sense.
Jacob Collins, my brother in Christ, do you honestly believe that in the year of our Lord, 2002 or 3, the WB would have been capable of handling a storyline like that?
No.
Do you want my head to explode?
but I'm just saying, like, there is, like, by the way, Lionel's not in this episode at all. Which, by the way, that's because obviously it was shot, for season 1 of John Glover did not join until season 2, and I'm sure it's reoccurring. They're probably like, we're not going to get him in this episode. But I will say I do like that Principal Reynolds does share similarities to Perry White because he believes in Clark. He's just like, I'm being a hard ass because I believe in you. I see potential, and
he's trying to challenge him.
I feel like that's a Perry White move. I felt like he kind of came off like Perry White to him.
He would have been an interesting choice to play Perry White if he was cast to be Perry White.
And I do think that Martha's dad hating Jonathan, I like that aspect of it. And him trying to bring his like grandpa together with Jonathan. And then like the reason why is because of you, Clark. It's because Principal.
Oh yeah.
It's because of Grandpa. If he knew you were an alien, we don't know how he would react, and we felt like that's the best way to protect you. And I like that aspect of it because they don't
have the best close-in relationship, and he's a politician. So how do we know that we can trust him to keep a secret and keep that burden? Especially that they weren't even that close. Like Clark was not close to him, as much as he wanted them to reunite and be family, but it did not happen. One of my favorite scenes is when he's trying to go to his hotel, shows him his family photo albums, like, hey, I just want you to see the way I see it. You know, that it was a big of a throwback line similar to Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, when Superman was giving a press conference to the world, say, I wish you could see the world the way I see it. So it's a little bit of a parallel to a throwback to the fourth Superman movie.
I don't think it's particularly wise of Smallville to be paralleling Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Shitty movie, but good line from that movie, even though the movie sucked.
I mean, that movie sucks dick, but like, seriously. It is, there are some good moments in it. But not Lenny Luthor or Meteor Man or Nuclear Man.
Nuclear Man.
The dude is still.
I still remember that line. John Cryer from 2.5 Men in that movie somewhere.
Yeah, they had John Cryer. They had John Cryer as the henchman of Lex Luthor.
And he's the villain.
And he played Lex Luthor in the Arrowverse show.
I will say he is a good Lex Luthor. I would say he's probably my third favorite Lex Luthor because he really is good. I was expecting him to be shit. Because I watch him in 2.5 Men. I'm like, Alan from 2.5 Men.
I think it's because we're so used to seeing him playing that role for over a decade for 2.5 Men. Like, how can we take him seriously?
I mean, that's like Ashton Kutcher. Like, it's really hard to see Ashton Kutcher as nobody but Kelso from that 70s show.
The best dramatic role I've seen him in was the Butterfly Effect from Ashton Kutcher.
See him in that, you're just like, how am I supposed to take this dude seriously? When, like, the last movie I saw him in, he was like, dude, where's my car, bro? Dude, where's my car?
Where's your car, dude?
Car, bro?
Dude.
Like, well, somebody show this motherfucker where his car is so we can stop this movie. like, there's the stupidest line of that movie that still is in my brain is where they literally go, dude, you got a tattoo. What does yours say? Sweet. What does your tattoo say? Dude. Yeah, but what does your tattoo say? Dude. It goes on for 5
They make fun of that in Scary Movie 2. They made fun of that one in the Scary Movie 2.
That one was funny. Now
that was hilarious. I love that.
That was actually hilarious.
Oh shit, you got a tattoo too. What does it say? Ray.
Who's the tattoo say? Fuck. Ryan, you got to include that scene now. The rank.
Alright.
I will send you that clip.
Your,
like, fuck, I
your
hate
wish
you
is
guys.
my command. But I think we've covered just about everything. Let's go to ratings now. Jacob, what you got?
I would say maybe a 6 out of 10.
Matt, what about it?
It's not as bad as the last episode, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because there's still a lot of great stuff in this episode, minus the whole Jeepers Creepers woman.
And that's the sad thing. That was my favorite part of the episode.
Oh, really?
Because I'm like, I like her. I like it was a hottie that was going around murdering people, but then it just didn't feel like if that would have been a plot, I would have loved it more.
I feel like they should have given her more story. I mean, even though she's only in it for, even though she's a one-off villain, but give us a little bit more depth to her instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm here to suck the youth out of them, and I've been doing it for over a decade." Like, why do I care?
Yeah, I don't care, Maggie Lawson. I'll go psych off.
Yeah, I'm going to go 6 as well. Very busy episode, and it does hurt it in the quality department. However, there is some strong stuff here, and that is all well and good. But overall, not super great because we got one really solid episode in Red, and then just like speed bump from there. But
I think you'll like the next couple of episodes. I think.
Oh yeah, the next 3.
I looked them up, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna love. I think. Especially one episode, you're gonna love that episode.
Especially episode 8, which is my my god. I mean, episode 7 and 8 are the like top tier episodes.
So next up in that we're going to be talking about Lineage, Ryan, and Dichotic. Dichotic. I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Dichotic.
But we're getting Ryan back. Yay! He's my favorite guest character from season 1.
Oh yeah, Ryan Cowley. Did you see the episode of the podcast that Ryan Cowley was on?
He was on Michael Rosenbaum's Inside of You podcast. That dude was jacked.
I have been.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. Because if you watch him in Teen Wolf, saw him shirtless, that dude is freaking jacked. Like he was because when we first saw him in Smallville, he was just a scrawny kid, and now he's an adult. Like, damn, dude, you better get some tips for this guy.
I've been up to my eyeballs in Scary Mania stuff, so I have not had the chance. But thank you for sending it to me, Matt. I will watch it. But I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you all so much for watching. Jacob, it's a great privilege. I know how to talk. It's a great privilege to do this with you every week. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on the OnlyFans.
Jesus. Again.
Okay, fine. You can find me on the hub. Okay, there. But if you really want to find me, okay, I'm on YouTube. I'm doing a watch along tomorrow night on Friday, which by the time this airs, that would have been last Friday. So me and Ryan I've done a watch along called Jeepers Creepers 2 with Blacktastic Media and Jacob Martin, and also which by the time this airs, I will have been starting my 3D horror Halloween series, where every year as I cover, which Ryan said he's going to be part of it. I'm going to try to get Matt a part of it. And of course, I'm going to, Jacob Martin's going to be part of it. Stephanie Mendez, All About the Popcorn, and Blacktastic, and several other people will be a part of it. So it's going to be a fun time. I hope you all like it. It's going to be basically me doing a bunch of horror movie reviews, but with friends and stuff. And I'm doing The Exorcist and Chucky season 1. And I'm also doing Fright Night and stuff like that, and several other classic horror films. And I just in Saw review, by the time this airs, Saw would have dropped Friday. So I'm reviewing the first Saw film, and so that's what I'm basically up to. And also, I'm on the hub.
Yeah, the link's in the description. But Matt, thank you. It's a privilege to do this with you every week. Your link tree is in the description. Got anything cool coming up?
Oh, absolutely. I got a lot of plans coming up. I mean, as much as I'm looking forward to some of the few watch alongs that we're planning on doing for that Scary Mania, but I'm going to be reviewing a lot of some of the horror films that I've already seen that I want to talk about. And I will cover a lot of some of the horror movies that I've never seen and then watched it for the first time. I got a lot of those movies recorded, and it's going to be ready to upload a lot soon. So I'm going to wait at least a few more days because we're close to the end of September. And I recently went out to go see Expendables 4. I will be recording this review by the time this video ends. And by the time you watch this video on Tuesday, it will already be up by then. So go and give it a like and go support my channel and give it a subscribe and help me boost those numbers. And like you said, like the link tree will be down in the description down below when I have a lot of social media platforms. And yeah, it's been a privilege to talk about Smallville because I love the show. I've said this many times that the show means a lot to me, and it's been a privilege for Ryan to come and invite me on the show, so a lifelong fan, and to see the journey that Ryan is going through, that he's never seen the show before, but seeing his reaction is just priceless. I love it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those reviews on Matt's channel. I'm so sorry you had to sit through expend for
How
8
much did you
days.
hate
Oh, I got a
this
lot to.
guy?
Oh, I got a lot to say, but I
How
can't
much did
say
you
too
hate
much.
it?
But yeah,
I bet
I'll be looking forward to that. But like what these two were referring to, this channel is in the throes of Scary Mania by the time this airs. Smalltalk will be continuing on as normal. However, it's just daily uploads with 31 horror movie reviews in 31 days. But Smalltalk goes on because we've got a lot of shows still left. But by the time this drops, it will be Tuesday, October 3rd, which means that review of that day will be The Man Who Laughs, the original movie that inspired the Joker character, starring Conrad Veidt and released in 1928. So that review will be up by the time that this episode drops. But the day before that will be The Unknown, starring Joan Crawford and Lon Chaney Sr., and A Page of Madness will kick off the month, an old-time Japanese silent film. So it's going to be a very scary month here on the channel, so stay tuned for daily uploads through the month of October. But for Matt Wyatt, for Jacob Collins, my name is Ryan Cam. For Truth, for Justice, for the American Way, we will see you in the next one. Y'all take care.